Nay, gentle Romeo, we must have you dance. You are a lover, borrow Cupid's wings, and soar with them above a common bound. If love be rough with you, be rough with love. Prick love for pricking, and you beat love down. Give me a kiss to put my visage in, a visor for a visor. What care I what curious eye doth quote deformities? Here are the beetle brows shall blush for me. Or then I see Queen Mab hath been with you. She is the fairy's midwife, and she comes in a shape no bigger than an agate stone on the forefinger of an alderman, drawn with a team of little atomies athwart men's noses as they lie asleep. Her waggon spokes made of long spiders' legs, the cover of the wings of grasshoppers, the traces of the smallest spider's web, the collars of the moonshine's watery beams, her whip of cricket's bone, the lash of film, her waggoner a small grey-coated gnat, not so big as a round little worm pricked from the lazy finger of a maid. Her chariot is an empty hazelnut made by the joiner squirrel or old grub, time out of mind the fairies' coachmakers. And in this state she gallops night by night through lovers' brains, and then they dream of love. Over courtiers' knees that dream on courtesy straight, over lawyers' fingers who straight dream on fees, over ladies' lips who straight on kisses dream, which oft the hungry Mab with blisters plagues, because their breaths with sweetmeats tainted are. Sometimes she gallops over a courtier's nose, and then dreams he of smelling out a suit, and sometime comes she with a tithe pig's tail, tickling a parson's nose as he lies asleep, then dreams he of another benefice. Sometimes she driveth over a soldier's neck, and then dreams he of cutting foreign throats, of breeches, ambuscados, Spanish blades, of healths 5 fathom deep, and then anon drums in his ear, at which he starts and wakes, and being thus frightened swears a prayer or two and sleeps again. This is that very Mab that plats the manes of horses in the night, and bakes the elf locks in foul sluttish hairs, which once untangled, much misfortune bodes. This is the hag when maids lie on their backs, that presses them and learns them first to bear, making them women of good courage. This is she. True, I talk of dreams, which are the children of an idle brain, begot of nothing but vain fantasy, which is as thin of substance as the air and more inconstant than the wind, who woos even now the frozen bosom of the north, and, being angered, puffs away from thence, turning his face to the dew-dropping south. Nay, I'll conjure too, Romeo, humours, madman, passion, lover, appear thou in the likeness of a sigh, speak but one rhyme and I am satisfied, cry but ay me, pronounce but love and dove, speak to my gossip Venus one fair word, one nickname for her purblind son and heir, young Adam Cupid, he that shot so trim, when King Cophetua loved the beggar maid. He heareth not, he stirreth not, he moveth not, the ape is dead and I must conjure him. I conjure thee by Rosaline's bright eyes, by her high forehead and her scarlet lip, by her fine foot, straight leg, and quivering thigh, and the demsies that there adjacent lie, that in thy likeness thou appear to us. This cannot anger him. 'Twould anger him to raise a spirit in his mistress's circle of some strange nature, letting it there stand till she had laid it and conjured it down. That were some spite, my invocation is fair and honest, and in his mistress's name I conjure only but to raise him up. If love be blind, love cannot hit the mark. Now will he sit under a medlar tree and wish his mistresses were that kind of fruit as maids call medlars when they laugh alone. Romeo that she were, or that she were an open, etc. Thou a poppering pear. Romeo, good night, I'll to my truckle bed. This field bed is too cold for me to sleep. Come, shall we go? Alas, poor Romeo, he is already dead, stabbed with a white wench's black eye, shot through the ear with a love song. the very pin of his heart cleft with a blind bow boy's butt shaft, and is he a man to encounter Tybalt? More than Prince of Cats, I can tell you, or he is the courageous captain of compliments. He fights as you sing prick song, keeps time, distance, and proportion, rests me his minim rest, 1, 2, and the third in your bosom, the very butcher of a silk button, a duellist, a gentleman of the very first house, of the first and second cause, the immortal passado, the punto reverso, the high. The pox of such antic, lisping, affecting fantasticos, these new turners of accents. By Jesu, a very good blade, a very tall man, a very good whore. Why is this not a lamentable thing, grandsire, that we should be thus afflicted with these strange flies, these fashion-mongers, these pedonymies, who stand so much on the new form that they cannot at ease on the old bench? Oh, their bones, their bones. Without his roe like a dried herring, flesh, flesh, how art thou fishified? Now he is for the numbers that Petrarch flowed in. Laura to his lady was but a kitchen wench. Mary, she had a better love to berhyme her. Dido a dowdy, Cleopatra a gypsy, Helen and Hero hildings and harlots. Thisbe a grey eye or so, but not to the purpose. Signor Romeo, bonjour, as a French salutation to your French slop. You gave us the counterfeit fairly last night. Why, is not this better now than groaning for love? Now thou art sociable, now thou art Romeo, now art thou what thou art, by art as well by nature. For this drivelling love is like a great natural that runs lolling up and down to hide his bauble in a hole. O thou art deceived, I would have made it short, for I was come to the whole depth of my tale, and meant indeed to occupy the argument no longer. Nay, and there were two such. We should have none shortly, for one would kill the other. Thou, why thou wilt quarrel with a man that hath a hair more or a hair less in his beard than thou hast. Thou wilt quarrel with a man for cracking nuts, having no other reason but because thou hast hazel eyes. What eye but such an eye would spy out such a quarrel? Thy head is as fun of quarrels as an egg is full of meat, and yet thy head hath been beaten as addle as an egg for quarrelling. Thou hast quarrelled with a man for coughing in the street, because he hath wakened thy dog that hath lain asleep in the sun. Didst thou not fall out with the tailor for wearing his new doublet before Easter, with another for tying his new shoes with an old riband, and yet thou wilt tutor me from quarrelling? Consort, what, dost thou make us minstrels, and thou make minstrels of us? Look to hear nothing but discords. Here's my fiddlestick, here's that shall make you dance. Zounds, consort. Men's eyes were made to look, and let them gaze. I will not budge for no man's pleasure, but I'll be hanged, sir, if ye wear your livery. Marry, go before to field, he'll be your follower. Your worship in that sense may call him man. Good king of cats, nothing but one of your 9 lives, that I mean to make bold withal, and as you shall lose me hereafter, dry beat the rest of the 8. Will you pluck your sword out of his pitcher by the ears? Make haste, lest mine be about your ears ere it be out. I am hurt, a plague on both your houses. I am sped, is he gone and hath nothing? Aye, a scratch, marry, 'tis enough. Where is my page? Go, villain, fetch a surgeon. No, 'tis not so deep as a well, nor so wide as a church door, but 'tis enough, 'twill serve. Ask for me tomorrow, and you shall find me a grave man. I am peppered, I warrant, for this world. A plague on both your houses. Zounds, a dog, a rat, a mouse, a cat to scratch a man to death, a braggart, a rogue, a villain that fights by the book of arithmetic. Why the devil came you between us? I was hurt under your arm. Help me into some house, Benvolio, or I shall faint. a plague on both your houses. They have made worms meat of me, I have it, and soundly too your houses. A plague on both your houses, a plague on both your houses.